You're listening to Radio Cosmos.
All night long.
Bravo! My compliments, little lady.
Come on, Sean.
Break for 30 seconds.
You're now listening to BaaD Radio.
Hello and welcome to BaaD Radio. BaaD stands for Business at a Distance. This is a show about local businesses and business networking. Thank you so much for tuning in. We are a live show and you can listen to us on 105.5 FM, 660 AM, or listen to us online at floridamanradio.com. You can also download the Florida Man Radio app or pull us up on the iHeart app. I am your host, and I'm back in town, Angela Smarito, and in studio with me, we have a little bit of a different crew. Please welcome Lurch to the show. He is our producer for the day.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Listen to those pipes. I know. That's how he got the name Lurch.
Good to be back.
I'm very excited to have you producing the show today. My girl Emily is on a well-deserved weekend away, and we miss her, but we hope that she's sitting somewhere with her feet propped up and a cold drink in her hand. And I'm also super excited to get Melissa Jacob with Striking Brand on this side of the microphone with us today.
Yeah, it feels weird to be on this side of the camera. I'm used to being on the other side.
I know, but I love it. Love it. And Striking Brand has been doing our BaaD video production and has been doing a fantastic job. I love having that video feature available for people not only to listen to us, but to watch us. I want to give a huge shout out to Dr. James Boltz, who is a fantastic chiropractor and is our video sponsor. So if you've been in an auto accident or need a good adjustment, call Dr. James Boltz at 321-695-0724. We're also very excited to welcome Bianca Moon with Spa Blue to the show. Hi, Bianca. So glad to have you here.
Thank you so much for having me. Hi, everyone.
I know. Well, I have a history with Spa Blue, and Janet was supposed to come in today too, but she's actually in Switzerland.
Yeah, she's
so I can't grudge her that. But super excited to have you here, girl.
Thank you.
You can call or text us at any time. The number is 321-339-1055. Again, that's 321-339-1055. And this portion of BaaD Radio is brought to you by Ground Up Property Services. We are in that time of the year where we can get 1 to 4 inches of rain in a couple of hours. And then the next day, your sprinklers kick on. That's wasting water and electricity. If you don't have a water sensor, then you definitely need to get one. And if you have one, is it working properly? You don't know, do you? But if you have Rick Hall with Ground Up Property Services, you don't have to worry about it. You can reach Rick Hall at 407-468-4295 or go to groundupinc.net. Yes, that's right. And next up, I'd like to thank Liberty Property Inspections. They specialize in home and commercial building inspections, environmental inspections, roof certifications, and pool inspections. They can also save you money with a wind mitigation inspection, so call them at 407-739-5795 or visit them at libertypropertyinspections.net. Also, a huge thank you to Four Seasons AC, Do-It-Yourself Pest Control in Fern Park, and Angela Keen's Hair and Makeup. All right, so last week, Emily announced her selection for Business Tip of the Week, which was submitted by John Kennedy with Forage IT Consulting. And John's tip was, figure out what you do in your business that drives you and makes money. Then find other people to do everything else. So I thought that was a great tip. What do you guys think?
Yes.
I think that in business, especially for small businesses, that's what we want to do. We just want to take everything on, and it's just not an efficient way to do business. Mm-hmm. So I think that was an excellent tip of the week. And then, so Alvin Hazelton suggested that we call the weekly feature the BaaD Business Tip, which if you don't know BaaD stands for Business at a Distance. It sounds kind of funny.
It sounds like you don't want to do it.
But I still like it because I want to build the BaaD brand. So this week's BaaD Business Tip was submitted by Lee Saunders with Affordable Screens. Lee submitted, to build a successful business, you have to focus on quality instead of quantity. Okay, yes, most of us heard this before, but let's talk about it for a little bit. We can agree that in order to be successful, you have to provide a quality product or service, right? But you still need to have some sort of volume in order to keep the prices affordable. Again, right? In my opinion, there needs to be a balance, because if you take too long on any given project, it makes it not cost effective. Bianca, at Spot Blue, you spend, wait, hold on, I lost my place. Y'all need to do multiple patients a day, right?
Yeah.
So if you spent 2 hours on one patient, even though you're doing a fantastic job, that's now not efficient.
Right, yeah. It's not efficient for in the business standpoint. Of course, customers, they love having the one-on-one attention. So that's the economy where you don't know how much time to give them, but it's all about also just scheduling the time so that you can be on time and be able to do the best service for that person and then be able to see the next one.
Yeah. So again, like I said, quality, not quantity, is something we've heard before, but again, like I said, there has to be that point where you're like, okay, I need to move on. I have to, and in the radio world, I could spend 2 weeks on one client putting together the most awesome campaign, but then I'm not making any money because I work on 100% commission. And so there, like I said, what about you, Melissa? I mean, like you have to hit a certain volume in order to make it cost effective, right?
Right. Yeah. And that actually, this really speaks to me because this is actually the reason why I started my own business is having that balance between quality and quantity. The job that I came from, it was just so overweighing on the quantity side to where I'm someone who I really I really care about what I do and it's out of passion. So that kind of forced me to have that reckoning. Do I want to stay in a position where I'm just getting things in and out for somebody, and not really loving it and not feeling great about what I'm putting out because I'm just being rushed to do stuff. And so that's why I started my own business, because now I have a pretty good balance between the, taking the time but most importantly to me is just having the quality and doing things that I really love and making sure that I don't put anything out there that I'm not 100% going to stand behind, so.
But it is hard, isn't it? To figure out what that balance is. I mean, I'm fortunate because I actually work for JVC Broadcasting and we have budgets. And so I kind of have something that I can gauge myself on. But for a business owner that's just doing it on their own, that can be a hard lesson to learn. And to be honest with you, time management, I have no idea how people just teach themselves. I don't, because it's a hard one to try to take on. So that's, like I said, quality versus quantity, but you got to have something's got to be said for quantity too.
You got to get a good balance in there.
So thank you, Lee, so much for submitting that. And so like I said, you got your business mentioned, and then he's also getting his own BaaD radio shirt. Woohoo!
Yeah.
We expect pictures.
I know. Did you see Alvin? Alvin was our first winner for the business tip of the week.
Did he post it?
Yes. He did a video of him opening it up because he lives out of town. And then he was like brand ambassador. I'm like, yes, because he was excited. I think he was just as excited as I am. I don't know. Okay, so another thing that I wanted to talk about, again, because what I really want to mold this show into is for a place that people can go to see both sides of things. And so when you are running your own business, there's lots of things that you might do that you think are very effective and they make sense to you, but without understanding that on the other end, it could not really be working for you. And I posted about it, and I think, Melissa, you commented it because we have two different viewpoints. So this is what it was. It was talking about sending somebody your calendar. So I've been in situations where people have reached out to me and said, Angela, I would like to do a one-to-one with you. This is in networking things. Very rarely does a sales rep have like a business call me and say, yeah, I want to buy advertising from you. It doesn't really work that way. But anyway, to do a one-to-one. And I'd say, okay, that would be great. And then they just send me their calendar. And that's it. And I'm like, guess what? I'm not going to hit that. I'm just not. I don't know why. I mean, I don't know if I feel like it's rude, but so tell me, Melissa, what was your take on it?
So I kind of I'm one of these who don't call me, text me. I'm usually,
I know. I'm trying to call you.
I'm usually multitasking. So when people send me their calendar, then it allows me to kind of look at my schedule, and we don't have that back and forth of okay, here's some times that I can do it, and then I'm like, okay, well, I can't do those times. That whole back and forth kind of it feels like a waste of time to me. So if someone sends me their calendar, then I'm like, okay, I'll look at, I know for sure when you're available. I'm not just looking at tomorrow, your times, and then I can check on mine. So, but I think, was it you that mentioned, or someone else posted and said, sometimes they'll offer a couple times, and then they'll also post this calendar. So I think I might adopt that because I don't want to offend anyone. I didn't know that was offensive. So.
Exactly. So, I mean, this is a good topic then, because it lets people know that particular, and I think it might be a generational thing too, because like I said, I'm almost 50, and I had this conversation with Rachel Roach from Coldwell Banker, and then another gentleman, and like he's a little bit of an older gentleman, and he's like that. He goes, if I'm going to make set up a meeting with somebody, he goes, I want that personal experience of saying, hey, here's 3 times. Did any of these work for you? It's kind of like back and forth. And also when somebody just sends me their calendar, I get distracted and then I forget.
You get overwhelmed with choices because you don't know what you're going to be doing 2 months from now if the whole 2 weeks is open.
Yeah.
It's good to have just certain dates, and then you can know if that one works for you.
Yeah. So Lisa, my boss, she loves it. She's like, there's nothing more flattering than having somebody send you the calendar. I'm on the opposite end of the spectrum.
Yeah.
I'm like, I think it's like a, slap in the face. Oh, I forgot we're on Facebook Live. So I think that the big message is that if you're going to schedule, like if you request an appointment with somebody and they agree, then give them a couple of options and say, okay, what works best for you? How about this, this, and this? And then you can, and if none of those work, or you can even say, or you can check my calendar. And then that way you've given them that personal one-to-one time that you can, that they can feel comfortable that they're going to do that. And lots of times I'll just pick one of those times. Because if they give me 3 different times, usually I can make one of those work. And I think that is a perfect way to work with businesses. So again, like I said, that's just really what I want to turn this radio show into, is as an asset, something, a place to go for information. So I appreciate your input, and I need to think about some other business tips that come to me. And I know that my first one was trust your gut. What are some of the things, Melissa, you would tell yourself if you could go backwards in time? And I don't mean to put you on the spot.
I know. I'm like, oh, crap.
But think about how you do business today. And if you could talk to Melissa from 10 years ago, what would you say? Would you be like, okay, do this, do this? I don't
know. I like the trusting your gut. I naturally am not the entrepreneur type. I kind of got pushed into it, and now I'm loving it, but that wasn't my natural thing. So just being able to gauge what the next steps are, I guess, and the path that I should take. Sometimes I question that, but if I'm really like thinking, okay, I need to just trust what I'm doing, trust where I'm comfortable, and that usually leads me where I want to go.
I think that's great. And I know, Bianca, you're kind of new in the world of business, right?
Yeah.
How long? When did you start with Spa Blue?
I started a few months ago, so new in that business, but I've been working in dermatology for 4 years, being into the business side of things, so I do have some experience with that. My advice would be, from what I've learned, is stick to your boundaries, because there's always going to be people, any kind of clients that are going to want you to cater exclusively for their schedule.
Oh, amen to that, sister.
Come in before your opening hours. Can you meet me 2 hours after you're supposed to close to do this, this service, this XYZ? And if you do that, that can really open up just from being burnt out. You can't open up your whole time, then you won't have any personal time for yourself.
I think that is an amazing tip. And oh my gosh, do I really wish that I would have said that to myself so long ago, because I think about how many times I've got my boundaries pushed and I just fold because I want that sale. I want that business. Already time for a break. Told you it goes by fast.
That's so quick.
All right, so it's time to take a quick break, and when we get back, we're going to talk about turning yourself from blah to beautiful, so stay tuned.
Welcome back to BaaD Radio, brought to you by Premier Couple Superstore, because a couple that plays together stays together.
And welcome back to BaaD Radio. And just a reminder, you can call or text in at any time to 321-339-1055. And this portion of BaaD Radio is brought to you by Impact Electric of Orlando, who focuses on residential and commercial electrical work. When talking about quality of work, Impact Electric is one of the best. We use Impact Electric of Orlando for all of our electrical needs, and I would recommend them to anyone. You can reach Zach at 407-747-0874. We're actually having Zach come come out on Monday and adding some really, really cool light fixtures. And like I said, turning my house into Hogwarts. It's awesome. It's so good. Also want to thank Andrews Law PA, Renee Sterling, our mortgage expert, and Sheepdog Promotional Products. All right, so before break, I mentioned turning blah into beautiful. So please welcome Bianca Moon with Spa Blue to BaaD Radio.
Hi. Hey, everybody.
Yes, I'm super excited to have you here. You're so cute. But are you feeling a little bit more comfortable now?
Yeah.
Okay.
First time on radio, so Angela's great. She's making me feel very comfortable.
Oh, that makes me happy. But yes, it is a comfortable environment because, and on break, we started a line of questioning, and this happens all the time, is that you start this line of questioning, you just want to keep going. You're like, oh, wait.
No,
that's good content. So before we jump in, just tell us a little bit about yourself. So you've been with Spa Blue for
a couple of months. So I started early in the springtime.
Mm-hmm.
So Spa Blue is a medical aesthetic clinic, so a med spa in the Dr. Phillips area.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what we concentrate most on, aesthetic treatment, so filler, Botox, microneedling, those kind of things. Great things that we have for skincare. But before that, I've worked 4 years in dermatology, so I'm no stranger to anything that is regarding the skin or skincare. So yeah.
That's dermatology is actually a really, really good place to get that base
foundation
to go into aesthetics. That is a hard word to say. Aesthetics.
And spell.
I don't even try.
No double S in it.
Do you guys do facials too, or is
we
it?
do, yeah. We do hydrofacials, which are great for unclogging the pores. So we have an esthetician. She was doing actually the other day a Juvashape, which is like a fat melting instead of a cool melting procedure for my double chin. She's getting up close.
You don't have a double chin.
I do. It's hidden by the hair, but she's getting up close and personal, looking at my pores and my nose. She's like, "Girl, you need to come get a hydrofacial. I'm gonna clean you out." So,
Oh no, I know my neck has always been my nemesis because I used to be heavier, and then I've lost weight, and I'm like I said, I'm also almost 50, so I have a lot. I had so much loose skin, and I know Janet's done we've done the plasma pen, and we've done a lot of stuff, but so just recently I got a thing done. It was called Face Tight or something like that to kind of pull it up. But you know what? It is what it is. I'm not going to complain. I'm pretty happy.
Angela looks great. We show some of her pictures all the time.
That is funny because if I go there, I see myself on the screen.
She's awesome. And I love that you're open about it too.
What do you mean? Oh, just I'm not shy.
That you're on the screen, because what's good is that I think the field of aesthetics is changing now, where it's not so hidden anymore. But before I would say half of it. Like I have some older patients that they'll say, I don't want my friends to know that I'm doing anything. I'll never admit it. But then I think more of the younger population, it's part of their self-care now. So they tell all their friends, I'm getting lip filler, no big deal. I'm getting, a little Botox. And it's just part of making themselves feel good.
I don't, like I said, I remember, though, I don't frown on it at all. But I mean, when somebody who obviously has gotten work done tries to tell me they don't, I don't call them out, but in my head, I'm like, right.
Like a certain celebrity that came out last week. I don't know if you know what I'm talking about.
If you can hold two pictures side by side and there's a visible difference, like your 11s don't just magically disappear.
Right.
It just doesn't work that way.
No, we can't fight aging, and there's nothing wrong with wanting to just make yourself feel better as you get older. You go to the gym, you take care of your body, you take care of your health and your mental health. Why not your beauty? It's all part of the same thing.
See, I love that. I think that that's actually just a way to help women feel more empowered and better about themselves.
Yeah.
Like I said, I know that that's the way I feel. So I have I'm not shy about it, whatever. That one picture that Janet has of me from when I first went and saw her is the poster child of what I never want to look like again. I had no idea. It's so bad. Do you know which one I'm talking about?
Because we use it because you had such a great transformation.
The first time
she's like, I know the bad picture.
You were gorgeous to start with,
No, not in that picture, girl. It was hideous. Oh my gosh. I remember Tom was like, they altered that. They did something to make that. I'm like, you think they made me look worse just for the pictures? I'm like, I don't think so.
But it's always good to have a before picture.
Well, I meant I was going through kind of a rough time at that time too. I was not taking care of myself. I was drinking way too much alcohol. And I did like a little thing the other day where I showed a picture of me at 43, 46, and 49. And so at 43, I was heavier and I was drinking daily. And at 46, I was about 2 months sober when I took that picture. Huge difference. Now,
Even just 2 months.
Huh? Yeah.
Even just 2 months.
Well, actually, it might be a little bit longer. And then 3 years completely sober. And it's just unbelievable, the transformation. When people say you're aging backwards, you're damn right I am, because that stuff will kill you. So, on break, this is what I want to talk about. Okay, so we talked about your tip, and it was about limits.
Yeah.
So you do have people that push your limits. They want to come in and they're like, okay, I remember when you told me you're going on vacation and she wanted just a little bit more filler.
Well, yeah, some people want a little bit more than they really should be getting. So it's hard to get into someone's mind to explain when they need to kind of cut it off and have a limit.
Because it's a mental thing. They're kind of like,
Yeah, and especially nowadays when we have the Instagram and all the selfies, a lot of people see themselves as only the selfie, and that's what they want to be at, right? So they'll kind of chase something that is unattainable, like wanting bigger lips, and then they get some lip injections and it looks great, and then they want a little bit more and a little bit more. So it's just really important to have someone that's going to cut it off and say, you look great, this is, just give it some time, and then if you need a little touch up later on, you can do that at that point. But it's important to have someone that's going to just keep you looking natural and not overdone. And I think a lot of people in their own lives at home or their family and friends, their loved ones may be too shy to tell them, you're overdoing it.
Right.
They don't want to be the bearer of bad news or the tough one, but that's kind of our job to say, this is what's going to work for you, and this is what's going to make you look beautiful and natural, and this is what you
But there
really
are some places that don't, right?
No, and that's what you have to be careful with, because there's a lot of people that will just take your money, and that's all they care about, and
they're not worried about the finished product.
No, but like at least with us at Spa Blue, at the end of the day, it's our name on your face, right?
Well, that's another thing I was saying, is that when somebody is looking all just crazy and they're like, oh, I went to Spa Blue, people are like, ooh.
Yeah.
Not really.
Yeah, it's like, to me, the biggest compliment is just having someone, they get filler, Botox, all the skincare. Everything is done. The entire package is done, and then they're getting compliments from their family and friends. Oh wow, you look refreshed. You look
That's
so
a good
good.
one.
What are you
Like that's
doing?
really a good place for it. Is like, oh my gosh, you look like you got a great night's sleep.
Yeah, exactly. But no one is saying, "Did you do this?"
Yeah.
If they know, then they.
Is that hard Is that hard with the whole the client's always right type thing? Is that challenging? Because I have the same sort of problem sometimes with design and pictures. Like, people will be asking for things, and I'm like, this doesn't even look like you anymore.
Right.
So is that hard?
I think at first it's hard coming with that customer service mentality that we're always kind of taught to do, but I don't know. I think it's more my personality. I'm just very honest, and not brutally honest. You have to phrase it in a really nice, polite way.
I like you have a very calming persona, which I think is nice, and I think that you probably are. I'm guessing that maybe sometimes Janet's like, okay, you deliver the news, because you have that kind of
Sometimes
calming.
she can't get to them to kind of cut it off, and then she'll send me to the ones that are listening to her. But it's just like, you have to, I guess, look at what their positives are. Maybe someone wants bigger lips and it's just too much for them, so you have to focus on, while you have a beautiful cheeks and beautiful eyes, that's where your beauty comes from. Don't just focus on your lips. You have your entire face.
I know how that feels, though,
representing you.
Because I have a hard time looking in the mirror without focusing on my neck. I'm like, listen, just stop.
You see the negatives.
But no one looks at the negative.
I know.
Everyone looks at the mirror 10 times the magnification to themselves, but that's not how the world looks at you.
Yeah. And another thing I wanted to talk about too is because we were talking about actually on the way here, I was having a conversation with Bianca, and I wanted to one of my messages is that not all locations, clinics like that are created equal, because you can get a botched Botox job, and I don't think that people realize that.
Yes.
Because I know Emily once got that, and her eyebrows were like went down like this for the longest time. So I mean, how do you learn about, because like with injections, it's different on different people, right?
Yeah, so the first thing is you have to really know your anatomy and know what the products do, right? So Botox, what it does is it softens the lines around the face because it prevents the muscles from making exaggerated movements. It kind of makes the muscles sleep for a certain amount of time so that if you tend to frown, it's not able to frown, so it doesn't make the lines. But there's many muscles in our face that control your eyes opening, your eyebrows lifting, your frowning, your smiles, your cheeks lifting, and you have to know exact placement of where the Botox is.
But for different people, it's in different places, though.
Yeah, so it work with the anatomy for everyone, and it's there's no one spot fits
right.
all. It depends on everybody. So that's the number one thing to prevent experience and tailoring the service to the person's anatomy. There is always risk for any procedure. So the brow dropping, that can happen for the most experienced injector, someone that's been doing it for years.
What causes that?
It's just sometimes the product itself will diffuse to the muscle that is supposed to lift up the eye, and so the eyebrow is not able to lift and it lowers.
Does that make you super nervous?
Yeah, I mean, I hope not to
I would be
do that
devastated.
too much, but it's very rare for someone that is experienced and very well trained. It's rare, but it's always possible.
Oh.
So I'm like, no shade on the injector. It can happen, but you're right. There are many other botched procedures that can really go wrong. So I'm sure everyone that's listening, they've heard of like the show Botch and things like that. And you have to be careful with where you're going to make sure that someone's really trained so that they know what they're doing.
And that is definitely going to be Spa Blue. So it's time for another break. And when we return, we are going to learn more about BaaD Radio's videographer, Melissa Jacob, with Striking Brand. So stay tuned.
Welcome back to BaaD Radio, brought to you by Premier Couple Superstore, because a couple that plays together stays together.
And welcome back to BaaD Radio. You can call and text in at any time to 321-339-1055. And this portion of BaaD Radio is brought to you by Premier Couple Superstore, because couples that play together stay together. Cut out the middleman and go straight to the source. Premier Couple Superstore has everything from sexy bedroom outfits, toys, games, and everything in between. Also, a huge thank you to Artistic Beauty and Diamond Cryo, both are which in the same location in Winter Park, and Kazoo Creative, and got the BaaDradio.com website up and running. I know Kenny was here last week, so can't thank him enough because the website looks fantastic.
It's awesome.
Tom actually designed the website, and then Kenny's the one who got it to go live.
Got it working.
Mm-hmm. And so, yay, finally got you, Melissa, on this end of the mic. And I just really wanted to start by saying how much I appreciate the video. Every time you send me the link, it's always at night when I wake up in the morning, I get it. It's like getting a present. Yeah. All right, so we talked a little bit about how you got started, but let's start over again. So,
Sure.
So you said that you worked for a company that was like burn, So what was that in photography?
It actually was in publication, editorial design. So I have a degree in graphic design, and then anything artsy, I'm into it. So before I started my own business, I worked for a publisher up in Atlanta.
Okay.
And they were very much, the original owner was very family oriented, and then the one that bought them ended up being on the complete other end of the spectrum. So it kind of just made me, as someone who cares about what I put out, and I want to have my name behind it and feel confident, it was really making me feel a kind of way.
I get that, because that's the way JVC is. Like JVC will let me put family first, but I used to work across the street, and they didn't care about nothing like family oriented. We would have like these lockdowns, and they tried to take my freaking phone from me. And I was like, are you crazy? I've got 2 kids.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'll break your fingers if you try to take my phone.
This is serious.
But that's what it was. It was no family time. Okay, so, but again, you got tired of the crunch.
Right. And actually, one of my best friends that I met down here, her name's Brooke Boltz.
I know Brooke.
Oh, I love her.
She's going to be on the show next week, I think.
Oh, yay. Well, I get to see her. But I would, always talk to her about, complain and, tell her the things, how you do with your friends, just like gabbing, like venting. And she was the one who actually got me into BNI. She was the one who was like, girl, you need to just start your own thing. And some of my first projects I did with her, I did a video that kind of capped her end of the year for her employees.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, and it was I did that, and I had so much fun doing that. That's actually the one job that got me thinking about, I could do this like full time.
Right.
I really enjoy it, and I'm like in charge of everything, so I don't have to like rush it. But that's what kind of got everything started, and that was February of last year, I think.
Yeah, well, you do a fantastic job. And I am going to actually talk to Janet about Melissa, because she can do like videos for Spa Blue, like walking through the facility, and I mean, she does such a fantastic job.
Fancy.
But you know what I mean? It's like really professional. So when this is done, you'll see this whole thing is, she puts it together with like my sponsor logos, and it's just, I'm so proud of it. I'm so proud of it. And again, it brings more value to my sponsors as well. So like I said, I was going to talk to Janet about that, because I know that she put a spin on Spa Blue that what it's really like, that people haven't seen before. And it just, like I said, will take you guys a step above, the competition. So how much of your striking brand is video versus photography?
That is kind of half and half, I would say. And I like both of them. That's honestly probably one of my biggest struggles, is trying to narrow down, because that's what I hear most from my business coach is narrow down, focus on something that you really love, so you're not spreading yourself too thin. But as a creative person, I kind of like the variety. I like the variety and the challenges. So even with my shooting, I tend to focus on business is what I want to focus on.
Right.
But then, for instance, this morning I did a cake smash photo shoot.
Fun.
So it was like completely different, and now I'm shooting like this. So that's one thing that I'm trying to work on, is narrowing down. But I don't know how much I'm going to be able to do that.
I know, I get it though, because even with like the show, it's like, okay, Instagram, Facebook, this, and I'm just like, no, I'm just going to focus on this for right now, and then let that get where it needs to be, and then I'll reach out and work on Instagram, and then I'll start doing TikTok and all that other stuff. But right now, I'm right here.
Right, and then I have a hard time, like, especially your tip is one that I need to really like
boundaries,
soak that in, because if someone comes to me and asking for something that's not something I really want to focus on, in my head I'm like, I could do that.
Yeah, I know.
I just go do it, and then you're like, I keep doing this to myself.
Well, you do a beautiful job.
Thank you.
How much time goes into like producing the BaaD radio? Because again, you have to go through edits and when you're going to be on this camera and this camera. So tell me a little bit about that process.
Sure. So this is actually one of my easier things to work on, and it is one of my most fun things to this. Every time that's a Sunday, I'm like so excited. I get to go shoot that. And so I would say the first 3 episodes, I shoot everything here, and then when I go home, I have 3-4 different camera angles when Emily's here, and then it takes a few hours to put that all together. So I did that for the first 3. And then after I kind of had a template and everything laid out, I'm going to shout out to my editor that helps me out. He's my co-editor. That he will take that template, and he kind of does the same sort of thing that I kind of established already. So that I can
so it's not like you're not starting from scratch every single week.
Right. So building that template's the hardest thing. The first thing is always the hardest. So the intro to this show.
I love the intro.
I love it too. I love it too. So that intro I made as well. So, when you make that the first time, then you put it on everything. You don't have to redo it. So
I love it. It's like one of those things brought tears to my eyes. Just like the show, the audio, because it has all the clips from that movie Fifth Element, and I had been like putting that together in my head for the last 10 years, and then she just nailed it on the first time. So when you see the video, you're going to see the intro. And the first time, like I said, tears to the eyes. I was like, oh my gosh, this is real. This is really happening. This is like my brand, and it's super exciting.
I love it. Yeah, this was a really fun thing, but sometimes it wasn't too challenging, I think, because I kind of, it just right away I was getting it. But there are certain other jobs that there are some challenges. Like when I shoot for real estate, I had one time I went to a house and this person did not want, I think it was a tenant that did not want the house to be sold, and he refused to get out of the pictures. So I straight
photobomb.
Yes. So I will probably put a picture here so you can see. I'm not joking. You can't tell who he is, so I think it's fine to put it. But yeah, he was like not. So I'm like, I can't put this up, on MLS. Have this guy just like hanging out at his office. But
well, hopefully he had like clothes on or something.
He was dressed. But so for that challenge, I can do virtual staging. So for that one, we just restage that virtually, put a note at the bottom, hey, this is virtually staged, just so you know, so nobody's like looking at this house and like, oh, who's that? Does he come with the house?
And you also said that you like to do video or pictures of food, right?
Oh, I love, yes. So I shoot for Slate as a restaurant in Orlando.
I want to talk to them.
Oh, I can get you in contact with them. They're awesome. That's one of my other favorite jobs to do is go down there and take pictures of food, because who doesn't love?
You get to eat the food?
Yes, that's the other. That's a bonus. It's like two awesome things in one. I know.
But seriously, taking the photos of food, sell the food.
Oh, 100%. Yes. I saw on Facebook, actually, I'm in Oviedo, and we have a page that's just for restaurants in Oviedo and people's reviews of them, and somebody posted a really bad picture, and all the posts below it, I felt kind of bad because they were like, dude, this is not helping that restaurant, please take this picture down.
Have you ever I've gotten stuck watching those videos on how what they do to make it look like a certain way.
Oh yeah,
like putting cardboard between the pancakes and then using like motor oil instead of syrup. Do you do stuff
or
like
spray
that?
bottles? So if it's like vegetables or something, you want them to look fresh, sometimes you could just use like a little spray bottle and have those little dewdrops on them.
What about steam?
You can do that in post. So I could do that in Photoshop. So that's another thing I really love doing, and that's from my graphic design background. Right. I have a realtor that I work with, and her team took pictures, and they're all in Georgia. So she wasn't able to make it up for the team photos. So I saw the end product and saw the style and everything, and I was like, we're going to get you in there, girl.
You cropped her in.
Yep. And then I Photoshopped her in, so I could probably put that picture up here too.
Yeah, no, Tom does that. My husband will do that. So we've done that for like the baseball team, my son's baseball team before, where somebody couldn't make the group thing. So he just took a picture and took him out of one and put him in there. It's magic.
Yes, exactly.
So tell me a little bit, but where do you see Striking Brand going? Because I know like what you're doing with me, we're working on getting you more referrals, and like I love thinking about different things that I could do to help grow Striking Brand. But where do you want to go with Striking Brand?
Sure. I want to get to a point to where I can help employ other people who are artsy fartsy like me. So I know when I was going to high school and even at the beginning of college, I didn't know how you could even make money with an art degree. My parents thought I was crazy, but it's just what I loved. So I would like to grow it to a point to where I have a couple other shooters, maybe a couple other editors, and then I can kind of pick and choose the things that I really love doing, which I think is like podcasts and radio like this are one of my favorite things, in restaurants and behind the scenes. So for any business, I love doing behind the scenes shoots. So you can stay in operation. You don't need to take time aside. And a lot of people like those pictures. They like to see what's going on.
I think they're great. So hang on, Lurch, that was 1 minute left with Melissa, right? How much do we have left in the show though?
We got about 3 minutes in.
So we're just going to keep talking like this.
Yeah, gotcha.
Like I said, Lurch, I'm still working on the whole time thing. It doesn't bother me at all when I'm like... So again, I love the behind the scenes thing because I think that it's super fun to see, and that in itself is kind of artsy fartsy in its way, is to kind of see what goes into it. How do you work with like props and stuff? Do you like to incorporate different objects in there and people are like, that's just weird. But then on photography, it comes out so good.
Yeah. Do you mean like product photography for specific things, or what do you mean?
Oh, no. Like I said, if somebody's in a picture and they look awkward, do you like to give them something like a book or whatever?
Yeah. A lot of times people are like, I think it's on Talladega Nights or something where he's like, what do I do with my hand? Like that's how people usually are, especially if they're not used to being behind, like in front of a camera.
Right.
So yeah, you're 100% right. If you give them something to put in their hands, or even if you give them like quick directions, if you're giving them things to do, things to change, then they're more thinking about that than like, I'm getting my picture taken.
Yeah.
You know,
I know that we just did that shoot. I mean, I helped, I'm not a photographer, but I still love photography. So I helped Emily out with a shoot, and Terry, I gave her a lemon. And I was like, just hand me the lemon. And she was like, what?
Yeah.
And I was like, hand me the lemon. And I took a picture of that, and it came out so good.
I know. Yeah.
Oh, so we're actually coming to the end of the show. I can't even believe it. Yeah, I think next year I'm going to try to go to two. I can't see that, Lurch. What did it say? 2 minutes.
2 minutes.
All right. So we're going to wrap things up. But what I'd like to do right now is just go around the room and let everybody give our listening audience your contact information. And always remember that I know these people, so I can get them to you too. So Bianca, let everybody know how to find you and Spa Blue.
Okay, so at Spa Blue, we're in Dr. Phillips. So it's me, myself, Bianca Moon, and Janet Barris. We're both physician assistants. Best way to find us and to see everything that we do is check out our Instagram. We're posting every day. Lots of fun videos and tips on skincare, cosmetics. You would love everything that we see. It's at Spa Blue Orlando on Instagram and on Facebook, and then the same thing on our website.
Awesome. And Melissa?
Yep. My name is Melissa Jacob, and I do photography and videography for businesses. You can find me. Actually, I just published my website. So
is it all done?
It's in the works. It's for the most part, but it's www.strikingbrand.com, and I'm Striking Brand on social media.
And I am Angela Smarito. If you'd like to get involved with BaaD Radio, check out baadradio.com. You can reach me also at 321-303-6424. Thank you so much for tuning in, and have a fabulous week, y'all. Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.